Hello and welcome to Mooks and Monsters. I'm Rob Ward,
And I'm Tim Niederreiter, and this is episode 114 of the podcast.
and today we're going to be talking about secret histories. So get your tinfoil hats on. We're going to be going someplace weird today.
Just like every day. So, yeah,
But yes,
so go on, yeah.
secret histories. They've been played with a lot in RPGs, and they've been played in Delta Green. Look at
Yeah,
that. That's entirely all about like secret histories. And oh, you really think that this was caused by this? No, this is what really happened.
it was far
Um,
worse.
and there was even a um this there's this entire like I remember reading on the SCP Foundation. They had this entire like this sea in Mexico was like not in existence until the 40s, and I was just like, what? How is it what? And like it broke my brain for a bit. I mean, it's not true, of course, it's a fictional, but you mess with you stay too far into secret history, you might actually start believing some stuff. So with that
Yeah, be careful
said,
about
they're
that.
perfect for your games. They're
Indeed.
perfect for games.
Yes, they are. And
Um,
I really like, especially urban fantasy games or horror games. The games set in the modern world make secret histories make a lot of sense, but you can use them just about any game. You can adapt them to any setting, I think. And they don't even have to be supernatural or conspiracy minded. You know, it could be something like, I mean, use the mafia kind of example. I bet a mafia family would have a secret history, you know, because they're criminals, that they go back a long time. It's that kind of thing. But
oh,
also,
absolutely.
but that's a little different. That's a secret history from the inside. And if you're having characters discover or uncover a secret history, that's more like the classic urban fantasy story or plot, where the character doesn't realize that there was this whole other world there. Harry Potter, but usually darker.
Well, there's also kind of going back to the mafia. I mean, you could probably make an argument for a secret history, which is actually it's a conspiracy theory that the mafia was behind JFK.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one's been it's been knocked around quite a bit, and quite a few people. I know TJ English kind of entertained that theory in his book Paddywhacked about the Irish mob.
Mm. Yeah,
But kind of getting away from that, it's these coming up with these different scenarios for things that happened in your game history or in history, and then utilizing it in a game can be very effective.
Right, and mostly a secret history is kind of like a mythology. It's an alternate explanation for something that exists or something everyone knows about. So, for example, here's one I heard about years ago on another forum. There's some D20 Modern game. So there I go again with D20 Modern, where King Arthur fought vampires in World War II because he came back, right? He was the once and future king. He came back, fought vampires in World War II, and that's one reason Britain survived. It's that kind of thing. But then, of course, he got turned into a vampire. So that's what the game was about in the present. But it's pretty silly, right? So, but you can do that kind of secret history thing, or obviously the more traditional conspiracies. JFK was an alien, maybe stuff like that. You could do anything. You could do anything with that kind of stuff. I mean, pick historical character was an alien. It's actually really easy. But it's also kind of silly. So I think if you want to ground it more, like it depends. If you want to do a silly game where it's like everyone who was ever important was an alien, like that'd be weird. But or obviously there's the classic story of humans are descended from aliens, or humans were put here by aliens and no one remembers it. The pyramids, that kind of thing.
Something I would also, it doesn't need to be as flamboyant as that. It can.
Yes.
Assassin's Creed does a really nice job where they create a fictional mythology that everybody who was in power was a Templar, and everyone that was fighting against them was a assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And that order pervades throughout power, and there's all these very important things in life that trace back to that. Um, I would also say that it really helps kind of solidify like how important your players' actions are, because um, they have the opportunity to stop something, or be part of something that's been going on for years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, we're talking about a historical context for the player's actions in the context in your world, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really neat. If you can make the players feel like, oh yeah, this happened, and now this happened before, and now I've got to do this because of X because of Y, and it makes sense to them in that logic. Uh, so yeah, I really do like the idea of the secret history, and also or like the hidden society is kind of a part and parcel of it, I would say. Where there's something,
Mm-hmm.
some people are in the know and other people are not, obviously, because otherwise it's not a history, it's just unknown things.
Oh, absolutely.
So for example, I mean, I really do I like the idea of the I'm not, if not aliens, but like, wait, humans came from somewhere else first before they arrived on the earth or something. But that's like ancient history. So maybe if we get more local, like, I mean, obviously, like the Assassin's Creed example is really cool because, I mean, it's a conspiracy meets magic and stuff on some level. Basically, this ability for
Well,
these people to be supernatural,
actually,
right? I'm pretty sure.
let's do some brainstorming. Pick a genre of game.
All right, science fiction.
Science fiction. Okay. Are we in space? Are we
No, let's say cyberpunk.
local?
So near future.
Okay, cyberpunk. Cool, cool, cool. Well, let's say that the first. Give me. Well, actually, how about this? We take the Chicago Fire,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow we want to tie that in. We could say that Mrs. O'Leary, instead of it was a cow, she was the first inventor of like cybernetics, and had this technology that no one else had, but it blew up and
Yeah.
destroyed Chicago.
Yeah, no, that's a cool idea. Or like, yeah, that kind of thing is basically what we're getting at with Secret Histories. There was an unknown side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so the cybernetics technology pioneered there gets rediscovered in some other period, and you realize, and it's that'd be cool.
Yeah, or that
Yeah.
if there's like a mega corporation that like has been um, playing a using this marketing thing, like they kind of have this figurehead um, from way back. They could still be alive in some sort of cybernetic or computer form,
Oh, that's a great one too. Yeah,
who's
that's a
still
classic.
giving like orders.
Yeah. Or yeah, I mean, and that kind of thing was even present in my Far Future game. That kind of like, wait, this character was actually the original character, right? Well, this character was the head
Mm-hmm.
of their house and has been for 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah, and that opens up so many questions. How do they survive for so long? What's going on here?
Right. Um, or it's funny how when the players create a conspiracy and then they have their own secrets. But never
Ooh,
mind. That's
yeah,
a
that's
separate
fun.
subject. We maybe can get into that toward the end, but I think it's a little too much to dive into right now. Um, though I guess I was thinking about that because of that game I just mentioned, where you guys basically did that toward the end of the game, created an alternate version of the truth for everyone
Oh,
else,
where
and just
we?
knew all
Oh,
the secrets yourself. Yeah,
oh, yeah, that time where we just kind of like just lied our
yeah,
asses
lied,
off.
cheated, and ruined people and destroyed people just to win this conflict and end the war. It was pretty amazing. And in fact, the most gray. I mean, it's like the most morally gray thing to do I've ever had players do. I think because it was like, oh yeah, you're doing bad things, but it's for an absolutely justified cause.
Yeah, for
Um,
those, we should
even though
probably
your
explain what
own purposes
happened
were
for
very
those
selfish.
that
Yes, we should do.
weren't playing
We
that
can
game.
do that. We can do that because that's a good way. That's actually a good way that a secret society, a secret conspiracy would be formed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right.
you want to tell it or should I? Yeah.
You should. You probably
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
more than I do.
So this is the Reese's Hat game. So we've got several main characters, but most importantly in this scenario, we have the Baron,
which was played by me.
Yeah, played by Rob, and we have the Admiral, who's played by our friend John. And I'll just simplify things that the Admiral had this evil uncle who wanted to take over his house because this is a noble house Dune kind of future with spaceships and everything. And he had been defeated. This is a prior history, but now they're locked in this new war. Oh, and the Baron had taken him in as a hostage. Basically, he had him as a vassal house of his own, the evil uncle. So
pretty much like a retainer almost.
Right, a retainer. That's a better way to put it. Yeah. And so this guy's basically on house arrest the whole time. He's so bitter. And then the Baron wants to end this galactic war. And there's only one, and there's a linchpin to that, which is the leader on the other side only really wants to get revenge on one noble house. He wants to destroy the heir of one noble house on the player's side. So they have to betray one of their own people, basically, one of their own houses. And they make this deal. They did it. They made the deal to betray their own houses, but they have to do this secretly to make sure one of these heirs dies.
Which heir was it? Was it John's heir?
No. John. It was one of the heirs of a different house. It was.
Okay, yeah,
John
didn't
have an heir in that game. At that point anyway. So no, it was he would destroy the heir of House Tendo.
Yeah. So we did that.
Which people they didn't really like. So they did that by luring out and providing cover. They started this whole battle. They lured the evil uncle of John's character out to do this battle, and it's very Machiavellian and complicated, as you can see, and they succeeded. And then they had to kill John's uncle. Let's kill John's character's uncle because he knew the truth by the end of it, but he was also a villain, and so and it literally ended up with him being eaten alive by Rob's giant plant person.
Yeah, not only was I a Baron, but I'm also a 20-foot Tyrannosaurus, Rex-ish,
Tyrannosaurus Rex meets Venus flytrap.
I was essentially like Audrey 2 in human form.
Yes.
Jesus. Anyway, kind of getting back that's a great way.
Yeah.
Because that was like a secret, really dirty thing that happened from these big time players. And having the players do something like that and keeping it covered, that's wonderful for your game. And you can probably have something like that if you game with the same people long enough. You could probably reference something that happened in a different game that you played.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that idea so much.
And
you guys did this, and the new characters won't know perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But won't know the truth or they'll have to find out the truth. And then they realize, and it's just a great way to build solidarity with your players. It makes your players really appreciate that they had an impact on your world and everything. It's awesome.
It's and that's wonderful when you can get that going. Something else I would probably you can also just make it seem bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
You can always hype up how big it was, and you're in a science fiction game, and someone references Edison,
Thomas Edison, or Tesla,
or Tesla, or Leonardo da Vinci, and you could just be someone could be like, "Oh, please, you really think a human did that?"
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And
yeah,
it's just
like in what was it? Men in Black. Elvis isn't dead; he just went home.
Yeah, that was really funny. How you look at the screen, there's Sylvester Stallone and all these other people, and you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah." I mean, it's hilarious, but it's also they chose people that were a little odd too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think the key here is to tie things in. I mean, even if you're creating a secret history in the course of your game, which I think is an extremely compelling idea, as we've talked about. Your players are going to be part of this, or you have the world has been shaped by events that no one understands, which actually isn't. I think the reason that resonates with people is it's actually kind of true. Not that there's conspiracy theories that are absolutely true out there necessarily, but that there are conspiracies do exist. in the real world. So it makes sense to have hidden facts that people just don't know or have been hidden deliberately. Yeah.
Yeah, I would also go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, okay, yeah. I would also play with what, like, the perception of what happened, because that's like the example Tim gave about us kind of lying to everybody to this grand noble battle that ended the war. um we You could play with here's this demonized person in your game's history, who's just seen as a tyrant, seen as all that stuff, years ago, but actually, might have been very heroic in his actions.
Right. Yeah, that makes
Or
so much
her
sense. Or
actions.
her actions. Anybody's. Yeah. It goes for anybody. Yeah, a character that people have been led to believe on propaganda, could be an influence there. So that that you don't really know that. I mean, people know what happened. At least they know the events, but they don't. They have a different view of why or how or why it was important. And that's a very subtle way to do kind of a secret history thing, where it's out in the open. I think that could be very powerful.
Oh, totally. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, this has been it's a wild topic, and sometimes all you have to really do is just have enough conjecture to, there's a fine line between reptile aliens and a secret society that runs the world.
Right.
What's more in your game? Think about what could be plausible and play with that.
Yeah. What could be? I mean, another good way is to consider the tone of your game. As always, it might maybe reptile people aren't going to fit in your game. Reptile aliens as the masterminds aren't going to fit in your game, but maybe they're just people who happen to be extremely to live for 200 years instead of 100 years or whatever. They just have a longer lifespan, and then they are the super creatures or whatever, but they're basically human, and that kind of thing would be enough to change.
Yeah, a gigantic storm was actually a magic spell gone wrong.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, and they play with that quite a bit in Delta Green. And Call of Cthulhu and all that. Someone famous was actually an imposter. There's all these different things. Just don't spend too long on them, but just browse a couple of conspiracy theories. Don't get too sucked into them, because otherwise you start going nuts. But actually, fan theories are really fun. Like, I was watching this 20-minute video about how Snowpiercer could possibly be a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And you watch it, at first you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then you watch it and you're like, oh shit, he's right.
It could totally be that. Oh,
yeah. No. So take that and just play with it. It's hilarious. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say one other thing about that. I mean, just take two ideas. If you took the concepts of two movies and said, what if those were in the same setting? And what if you could connect those two? Like, say, I mean, just use science fiction, Children of Men, and, I mean, this might be too easy. Children of Men and Sunshine, for example. Both of those movies, those would make sense together. But if you take, say, Sunshine and you mix it with, I don't know, the Marvel universe, that'd be completely different.
I haven't watched Sunshine. I'm gonna have to look at that.
Okay, that's about people flying. Do you know what that movie's about?
Nope.
It's about people on a spaceship. It's like a horror movie. People are on the spaceship going to the sun to drop a bomb into the sun to reignite it because it's dying. Which is pretty weird, but they're trying to save the Earth but it's like a suicide mission the entire time. And there's even worse things go on there. Yeah. It's a scary movie. But that's the kind of this is like a. Yeah, and actually, we didn't even touch on this, but post-apocalyptic secret societies. Why did the world end?
Yeah.
Why did the world end? What happened? That's all there. I mean, there's a lot of fertile ground here. So I think
12 monkeys. Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing I think of, where everyone thinks it was this terrorist organization, but no, they actually just released animals from the zoo, and it was someone else entirely.
No, and I mean to piggyback on that, Planet of the Apes, and I
Oh
think
dear.
most games, and to go with that, Mammalia, which we've played on the show, your setting,
Hmm.
where what happened to humans? They're gone now, and the animals are acting like people, but what happened to the humans? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, I need to. Something happened.
And it wasn't good. We can only imagine because there's no people left.
Hmm.
Or are there? Dun dun dun.
Work
Yeah.
in progress. Work in progress.
Sorry. I just like
Oh
I'm
no,
not
no,
trying
no,
to
no.
insinuate anything. I just think it'd be like that'd be
Oh
something you
no,
could
it's
do in a
just
setting like that.
no. There's definitely a secret history. I just need to like finish some finer details of the world.
Yes, understandable. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're about out of time though. Anything else you want to add about secret histories?
Have fun with it. They're really a blast to play with. They're really as small as covering up a scandal for a Hollywood starlet to how the planets are aligned.
Oh, and also, I would
It,
add that obviously, like we talked about, yeah, these are super fun, and they can be fun from any side. You know, the players might be in the know; they might be the originators of the conspiracy, like we described before, or they might be uncovering the conspiracy and trying the secret history, trying to unravel it.
yeah, or they could be trying to like keep people from finding out the secret history.
Exactly, they could be the guardians of the secret history. It's all there, and there's a lot of options. And the other thing is, don't stop at just one. If you want a really complicated game world, you could have a couple of these that interact with each other. And I wouldn't hesitate to do that either, especially if you're not going to just don't info dump because that's lame.
Oh yeah, info dumping is lame. Well, this has
All
been a
right.
Mooks and Monsters. You can find us at mentalsolidpublications.com. You can email us at podcast@mentalsolidpublications.com. Please like us on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at StageHat. Tim's at TNeedleWriter. And you can find this podcast wherever podcasts can be found. We've been hosted by Lipson.
Thanks for listening. Good gaming, everybody.
Good gaming.